We are surrounded by a world of fascinating people who all share the same thing in common. And I have the pleasure of sharing their stories. I'm Wanda Ryan, and welcome to my show. Everyone, I'm Wanda Ryan, and welcome to That Wanda Ryan Show. Today, we're thrilled to welcome back Jon Mullane as we shine the spotlight on his brand new single, Remember, in November, released in late September of this year. The song was written in Nashville alongside two incredible Grammy-recognized talents, Michael Dulaney, one of America's top hit songwriters, and Michael J., acclaimed record producer and composer. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Happy to be here, Wanda.
I'm happy that you're all here. Now, Remember in November marks the first single from Jon's forthcoming EP, The Road, and it's already making waves across the airwaves, climbing charts and creating that undeniable buzz every artist dreams of. It's truly an honor to have Jon Mullane, Michael Dulaney, and Michael J. here with us on this show. As we dive into more creative collaborations, their individual musical journeys, and the magic that brought them together for this powerful project. Well done, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
It was fun.
Let's make this fun. You know, I think that whatever we do, especially creatively speaking, when you create something from an idea, it's already magic. And there's so many more stories and so many more songs to come. What we're doing today, which is I find extremely significant and important, is talking about how that collaboration of creative individuals as writers are able to work that magic together. How do you gel that and blend it in a way that you're all satisfied and the brainstorming and all that wonderful stuff. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about Michael Dulaney and his journey in the industry. So Michael.
Yes.
You are a rock star, my friend.
Well, thank you. It's a long road to get there. You know, I don't know if you knew this part, but I was an intern out in Los Angeles at Famous Music when this iconic writer-producer there named Michael J. was one of their staff writers and producers. And I worked with Alan Molina, and I just got to know Michael through the years. And, you know, I was bragging to all my friends back home in Colorado when Michael J. and his artist Martika kept Madonna out of the #1 slot or jumped her. You'd know the specifics of that, but I thought, well, that's as close to fame as I'd been so far. So it was fun to brag to all my friends about that and my family. And who knew 30 years later I'd be walking in a room with him and Jon, who I'd met through a friend. And the collaboration, I find it easier to collaborate. You get a lot more done. You don't get stuck in ruts. But as far as my journey, it started probably started in Manhattan, then moved to Los Angeles, moved to LA, or moved to Nashville, back to Los Angeles, then back to Nashville, where I've been since 1994. And this is where I've had my success as a songwriter. And looking back, I'm quite thankful I'm 66 looking at the music business and not 26 with everything coming out right now. But yeah, I've been incredibly blessed and feel like I've earned my slot and passionately still love writing songs. So yes, you are absolutely correct. There's a million stories to be written out there continuing, and thankful to be somebody who can take a story and put it to music, and hopefully someday somebody gets to hear it like the three of us wrote.
Exactly. And I'm just curious, when did this become a thing for you? During your childhood, when did you want to start writing songs?
Yeah, I mean, I think I ditched every chance to go to a high school party so I could learn a song by lifting the needle off of the vinyl and learning James Taylor songs, learning Eagles songs, learning any kind of song. I mean, that's how, I took some lessons and knew some theory, but that's how I learned to play songs. And I would devour the lyrics. I don't know why. I was more impressed with, personally, I can come up with 5 song ideas melodically in a day, but it'll take me sometimes days or weeks or months to write the perfect lyric. And I was more impressed and fascinated by who wrote the lyrics and how did they emote? How did they make somebody feel something? How did they make them laugh? How did they make them cry? I was amazed at looking at the lyric, thinking, because it would move me. So I that's what brought me into my love of music. Believe it or not, it wasn't thinking I could get on a stage with a guitar and win over a girl's heart. It was actual love of music.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And do you have any kind of rituals that you would, to begin the process, or when you have the idea, do you make a cup of coffee, or do you put, is there chalk on the background? How does that work?
I don't think my ritual, I would have to say, is I just have the faith that there's going to be a song on the blank page when I come in. And it's just, I think I try to just not overthink things and make it so serious that I can't receive any kind of insight from the universe and from somebody's story that I hear in the room or whatever it is. I just try to, I used to have a poster in my room that said there was an old owl who lived in the oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why aren't we all like that wise old bird? So I learned to be quiet and just believe it or not. But as much as I'm talking right now, I learned how to be quiet at one point in my life.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's communication, good communication skills, and listening is so important, Yeah. I did see that I believe you had written or co-written with Reba McEntire. She was in your list, I saw.
Yeah, I've had 3 songs recorded by Reba, but I had one song that was a #1 song, and I was waiting tables. It was called What Do You Say? And it was a vignette song, and everything would come back to what do you say in a moment like this. And I was waiting tables still and ironing my shirt to go to work, and I get a call from Reba McEntire's assistant, Carol Ann Mobley, and she told me that Reba loves this song, What Do You Say, but she does not like the 3rd vignette, and she wanted a sad one because we made it happy and light. And I said, we've already written a sad one. It's very melodramatic, and I know Reba will love it. So I took the notes down, went to work. I walked into the restaurant. And my manager said, you're waiting on the McEntire family in the private dining room tonight.
Wow.
And so I went in there and did not say one word to her the entire night. But that story got back to her years later, and I heard through the grapevine that she really loved it. But yeah, Reba's been one of my favorites because she has liked my songs through the years, and she's a wonderful person.
Yeah, she seems to. Well, her song "The Greatest Man I Never Knew" is a song that comes. It's very dear to my heart because it's a song that's almost written about my story with my dad.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's how powerful music moves. And
The song. That's an amazing song.
wonderful. So wonderful. Let's jump into Michael J.
Yeah.
There you are. You've got your wall of fame there, which is fantastic.
Michael D's got one too.
I know. We're surrounded by trophies and awards and gold records. And Jon has his.
I have my flying saucer poster, so.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't get any better than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top of the world, man.
Yes. So, Michael J., welcome to the show. Very
Thank
happy
you.
to have you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got through this journey.
Well, my journey started in the tape room at Famous Music when I met Michael Dulaney, and and he was making cassette copies of my song Pink Champagne. No, actually, I was born and raised in Chicago, and I just grew up loving music. My dad bought us a jukebox, which I still have. I don't know if you can see it. It's right behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an original jukebox from the 1960s. It's been in our family ever since, and it still works. But I was, a child, and here we had a jukebox in our basement, and I just fell in love with collecting records and reading the information on the labels of the records, where I, at a very young age, discovered that so many of the songs I loved were not being written by the artists who were performing them. Which was a very common thing in the 1960s. You saw songwriter names like Carole King and Boysenhart and Neil Diamond and Peter Allen and, people like that. And it's like I realized there's this whole career you could have, because I never wanted to be on stage. I never wanted to be a performer. But there was this whole career you could have writing songs for other people to perform. And that's just, I was probably 7 years old, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was going to pursue that in my life. But, then you go off to school, and I started writing songs for our school plays and stuff like that. Then I went to college, and I was the music director of our college radio station. So I started having connections with all of the college promo departments in all the major record companies. And so when I left school, I was going to, hunt them down and see if I can get jobs at the record companies. And the first job I had in the music business was I was A&R for Curtis Mayfield at Curtom Records in Chicago.
Wow.
Which was a job I got through my father, funny enough. My father wanted me to follow in his footsteps and become a lawyer. But, he got me a summer job with Curtis Mayfield, and that was the end of that. I just stayed in the music business ever since. And then when I moved out to L.A., I hooked up with the Songwriters Showcase there, the Los Angeles Songwriters Showcase, and just met a whole community of wonderful up-and-coming songwriters, people like Alan Rich and Diane Warren, years before they even had their first hits. And we were all hanging out together in L.A. in the early 80s. And then, we all started writing songs together. We were pitching songs, and some of us got cuts and some of us didn't. But eventually, I ran into Alan Molina, who Michael Dulaney mentioned before, who was the head of the Famous Music Publishing Company. And he offered me a deal. He saw something in my songs. I had no credibility. I had no cuts or anything, but he liked the song, so he signed me. It was a low money deal, low risk for them, but what it gave me was a publisher. It gave me representation for the first time, and Famous Music was the publishing company of Paramount Pictures, so all the writers that were signed to Famous Music had first crack at the movies that were being made at Paramount at the time. So we're talking mid-'80s right now, and I'm probably 4 months into my deal, my first deal as a songwriter, and they come to me and they want me to write songs for a film that's in production called Top Gun.
Oh, yes, that's right. I was going to get into that.
And Tom Cruise wasn't even really a big star then, so you look at the people in the cast and you're thinking, there's no stars in this movie. I just looked at the script and I saw some of the dailies and I was like, this movie isn't going to work. It's not going to go anywhere. But you know what? I'm a team player. I'm going to write a song for them anyway. And I did. I wrote Hot Summer Nights. I presented it to them, and it got into the movie with Gloria Estefan singing it. And, of course, the movie became the biggest hit of the year, and the album sold like 10 million copies. So I completely recouped my advance, and Alan Molina allowed me to renew my deal for more money. And really at that point, I just kind of felt like that's it. I've finally come into it. I'm now an official professional songwriter making a living at it. And that's kind of where it all started.
That's so awesome. And, I'm looking at some other names like Sheena Easton, New Kids on the Block, Eminem. How is it working with Eminem? I mean, that's got to be a really interesting story.
Well, I wish it was more interesting than it is, but if you know anything about Eminem, the album that Toy Soldiers was on was the Encore album, and that was when he was really deep into drugs. I mean, I'm not even sure he remembers that album. So I was just happy, that he wanted to do the song. It was like, when I heard about it, it was like winning the lottery, and it was just amazing.
But really interesting. I mean, he's quite the character. What was the interest and the mystery behind songwriting?
Again, when I was a child and I was collecting records and reading labels and everything, and I had my favorite artists and my favorite songwriters, and when you're that young, I mean, we're talking single digits, like 6, 7 years old or something, you fantasize a lot. Every child fantasizes, and funny enough, if Elton John went too long between a new release, I would fantasize about what the next Elton John song might sound like. I would create it in my own mind. I'd write a song that in my head would be the next Elton John single. And of course, it would never go anywhere, but in my head, I would sing it over and over and over, and I'd written a song. Just so it could be a placeholder until his next album came out, just for me. I mean, it was just all fantasy. I don't even think I ever recorded them on anything or wrote them down. I just would sing them in my head. And as I got older, I just realized that, hey, some of these things are pretty good. I should be recording them and writing them down. So.
And Jon Mullane is the one who brought us all together today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Jon Mullane.
I'm gonna make you move. I'm gonna make you move. In the midnight blue, we're gonna make it through. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes it all comes back to you. I'm dreaming now. She's my new American girl, so bad she's good for me. She's my new American girl, loving what she does to me. American girl.
Jon is bringing us together with his new release, Remember, in November.
The sun will disappear into the ocean, but we will still be here. The boardwalk is buzzing, the moonlight is coming, but I hope this doesn't end. But just like the summer, you'll be gone, and then I will remember in November when these golden skies turn gray, when we were together, felt like forever. I won't let it fade away. When the nights are long, I'll be holding on to the memories we made. I will remember.
Jon, he has 5 successful albums. He has including a Christmas album we're really excited to feature in a Slice of Canada radio series. And, this is a single from his album.
The Row, EP will be coming out in 2026.
2026. Okay, great. So there you go, guys. This is just a little sneak preview. What about the rest of the album?
Going to be 5 songs total, and there's 3 more that Michael J. and I collaborated on with some other writers. And then the 5th one is another Canadian writer I work with a little bit. Remember November is the first time I've worked with Michael D. But I work with Michael J. Actually, we met 10 years ago, actually, at a Hollywood party.
Yes. Okay, so before we get into that party, Michael J. and Jon Mullane co-wrote Walking Away single, which is one of my favorite songs. Well done to both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Jon, tell us how you met Michael J. and Michael Dulaney. Let's get this process going.
Okay, it's a little bit of a story, but it's just full of synchronicities and serendipity and all this sort of thing. So I moved to Los Angeles from Halifax, Nova Scotia around 2014, somewhere around that era, 2015. And I was eager to connect with, fellow writers, fellow artists, and all that sort of thing. So I got invited to this party. It was like a Grammy party, I think. He was watching the Grammys, and I think it was in North Hollywood. And Michael was there, and someone said to me, "That's Michael J. And he wrote Toy Soldiers by Martika and, other stuff." And I said, "You should go and say hi to him." I said, "Okay, I'll go say hi." And I guess, we started talking, and within a few seconds, I go, "Want to write a song?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Wow.
And that's cool. That's cool. We'll do it. So I had this idea, this Walking Away idea, the title, had the melody a little bit. Yeah, I think I had some melody, I think. Did I have the melody, Michael? I don't remember you wrote all the lyrics, but you wrote the lyrics really fast. Like I gave him this music, and he came up with the lyrics within 2 or 3 days. I was really impressed with that, because usually it takes me months to write lyrics. That's kind of how we started working together. It took a long time for me to get the difference between Michael D and Michael J and me is I'm an artist as well as a songwriter. So I have to get the stuff produced, and sometimes it takes a long time to get things in order that you can erase, release music. So Walking Away took probably about 3 or 4 years to produce. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of a time after an album, and it was in between albums. So that was cool. That came out really well. I was really, really happy with that.
My head and my heart disagree. It's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. I should be running in the night. Let my demons pick a fight. It might be wrong, but it's so right. I'm wide awake, but still I'm dreaming.
Again, Creighton Dome produced that one as well, as Michael mentioned. The pandemic happened and kind of everything shut down, and I wasn't really inspired to write much artist-centric music for myself. So I released a Christmas thing, and then you mentioned the summer song, which is kind of a niche type, just a different type of song.
Yeah.
But the last year and a half or so, I've been feeling more inspired to come back and write real music, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the impetus. So my first trip back to Nashville after about 6 years was last fall, right around this time, actually, in October. And then Michael D had mentioned that we have a mutual friend, Michael Davenport, found me online. He found me a demo I did, when I first started, like a really old demo. And he was some catalog, song catalog that I was kind of just sitting around. So he said, "We think we can kind of do something with this in film and TV world." So I started working with him as a publisher. So he's my publisher in some of these songs.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Well, I know a guy," and I mentioned to Michael Davenport, another Michael, that Michael J and I worked together, and he knew the story because he was a copy boy as well. Michael Dulaney, famous music publishing. This is crazy. This this synchronicity. So Davenport had worked in studios, amazing. Keith Olsen, worked with him, amazing people all through the years. He knew I was going down to Nashville. He said, I'll introduce you to Michael Dulaney. He's a really cool guy. And I think, Michael Dulaney didn't say this, but I think, Michael, you told me you come from kind of a rock pop world, really, but most of your success has been country. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I still am. I mean, I'm on that edge or that side of the fence in country music. I don't write real traditional stuff, but I'm enamored of the lyrical writing of country music, just the way it tells stories and pays it off. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what Davenport said to me. He said, that's why he thought, we would kind of, get along quite well because of, we kind of have similar mutual musical influences. Anyway, I think last fall, if I remember correctly, I tried to reach out to you and you were not there. So we couldn't connect. We connected by phone. I said, well, I'll be back in April. Let's do a session and then let's get Michael J involved. And because you guys have that history, long and short of it, last April, I went back down to Nashville, figured a time. We met at Pure Music Publishing, which is Michael D's publisher. And we started talking and those guys started reminiscing about, their shared mutual experiences from a few decades ago. We all came together, and it was really cool. And it was a really nice, for me, it was very relaxed. There was no pressure, nothing. We were just having a good time, telling some jokes. Then we just started fooling around with some chords, and then Michael D came up with this title. He said, I don't know if you said you woke up with it or you thought of it in the morning. It was Remember in November, and we said, that's cool. And then it just went from there, and the song kind of wrote itself. Michael J, man, I'm always impressed with Michael J's lyrics, like just flowing. So it really did not take that long. I don't think we were in that room any more than 3 hours. Maybe that was the max, but that's how this whole thing.
I want to share some very kind words that Michael J has quoted. And he says, 40 years ago, Michael Dulaney was a tape copy boy at Famous Music, where he had to make cassettes of all my early songs. Today, he's among the cream of the crop of Nashville's hit songwriters. And this afternoon at Pure Music, we wrote our first song together, along with singer-songwriter Jon Mullane, A Full Circle Moment. That is really a powerful statement, and what a great thing to say. It brings such solidarity and humbleness with the three of you creating this beautiful masterpiece together.
These two have had amazing careers songwriting, and I'm currently what I consider like a mid-level artist. I've had some hits, but not top number one hits. Been on the radio, been in Billboard, but all the people that I've met through the years, the most successful ones are usually the most humble. And those guys are, those guys really, they could brag a lot about what they do and what they've done and what they continue to do, but they don't. They're just, guys that easy to get along with, just down to earth. And it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure being friends with them and working with them. And, they definitely are the cream of the crop, no question.
Yeah, I love that. And just a big shout out to Creighton Doan, whom has also been mentioned a number of times during this interview. He's the producer of Remember in November. Well done to Creighton Doan. One of my mentors, he wrote a song for John Lennon, and it's called Remember in December. And it's celebrating John Lennon's life. We always play it in our December shows in December. Jon Mullane, Remember in November, was written in a small writer's room at Pure Music Publishing in Nashville, Tennessee in April 2025. Michael Dulaney, Michael J., and Jon Mullane came together in a serendipitous way through various connections. John, you said it took about 3 hours to write. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even think it took that. I think like the first hour we were just, making jokes and having fun, and it just, songwriting is that's what it is. I mean, you don't really know what you're going to do when you get in these rooms, and this is pretty new for me too, I must say, because as an artist-centric writer, sometimes it takes me months to finish a song.
Right.
In Nashville, and these dudes are doing like a song a day, basically, in a few hours with strangers.
Yeah.
Now, we all had mutual background and connection, which I think really helped the ease of this. There was a flow there that was happening. Maybe Michael D., why don't you take it from there? Because I think you came up with the title that morning, right? Was that right?
Yeah, I don't sleep much anymore, so I write a lot of things down during the night, and that came to my mind. I did not know about the Remember in December, but that does tell me there's 10 more songs to be written if you use the other months, if you do the math real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember in August.
Yeah. Remember in November. Remember in January.
Could I just say my favorite song right now? It's not a song I wrote, but it's called "When October Settles In," and it's on Trisha Yearwood's new album, and it's just beautiful. So that's the October song is taken.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So my favorite part about the lyrics is when Jon goes in towards the end and he says, "Just for a moment, let's hold the hands of time. And while we're in it, I'll be yours and you'll be mine." And it was just so, wow.
Yeah, those are great lines. And I'm not sure which of the two came up with that, but it was you two guys that came up with those lines. Great lines.
How did that work? Did you just, I know when I'm brainstorming and we're talking, Jon and I, first of all, brainstorming about, well, hey, why don't we do an interview with the writers, and have everybody join into this amazing blessing of a release and talk about how the collaboration goes down, how the magic happens, how do you know that you're comfortable with working with these people? How do you know that you're going to gel together nicely?
You never know, especially if it's the first time working with somebody. You don't know. But you go in and you take a shot, and if it's a painful experience, you're probably never going to work with them again.
Right.
But if it turns out to be a fun time, then there's probably going to be more songs in the future. I think every time people show up to a writing session, they usually come with ideas that you can start with, and the first thing you do is you're just sitting around and we're all just throwing out our ideas to see which ones are going to click with everyone in the room.
Right.
And I mean, I don't remember how deep we got into it on that day, but Remember in November, just because it wasn't just a title. I remember Michael had like a whole concept behind it, which, and when he told it to us, it was just haunting. It was just really, we connected immediately on an emotional level to what he was saying, and I said, this is a good song, we should write this. And the hardest thing in the process, first you got to get the chorus together so you know what the meat of the song is going to be, and then you got to fill in the verses with storytelling, things that could support what the chorus is going to say, and that's always the hardest stuff. So once you get all that together, the bridge, the part that you mentioned, is usually what comes at the end of the session. And sometimes you just throw it together because it's like, oh my God, it's almost 3:00. We got to leave.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic song. And I think it came in a perfect time, not because November is just around the corner. Yes. But I also believe it's a perfect time because it's a song that people can identify with regards to romance and having a special relationship with someone that you cared about, and or a memory that you had of someone that still has a piece of your heart, I'm
working with a video company that's going to be promoting the video for me, and they did like a press release, description. They said, it's not just about, the song feels like it's not just about a love story, but like the love story. Maybe it's like this one that was very special, that was I think they get it like a once in a lifetime love story. And I think that's pretty cool because, we all have experiences through life, with relationships, but maybe there was that one special time, maybe it was in the summer, but whatever.
Well, yeah.
You know?
And it's about finding comfort in your memories, because the summer is over and you had this great time in the summer, and it's November, but you find comfort in your memories. In a way, that's very much what a lot of great love songs are like The Way We Were, Memories, da 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 da. I mean, that's what that song was about. So this was a little more specific in terms of timeline and what month it is, but that's what it's about, finding comfort in your memories.
Yes. And I went back, a way back, to a relationship, and I'm not going to say who, but it was a relationship that I had a couple of decades ago. And it took me back to good times. It didn't work out, but it was... You
don't want to name names, Juan?
No. No names.
Michael D., you got any names for us?
Yeah, Michael D.
Come on, man.
Too many, but yeah, bittersweet love songs are one of my favorite things to write, because, like Michael J. was saying, it's not, you don't have anger or resentment for these relationships. You just have a warmth, and it just, whatever it is that takes you back to that moment. And I mean, I wrote a bittersweet love song for my wife, who, when we were in a terrible argument one time, I'm looking at her thinking, my God, I fell in love with this woman at one point. If I could just go back to that moment. And I wrote a song about that moment. And that's kind of what bittersweet love songs are. They're that moment when everything clicked and everything was perfect. And that's why everyone can relate to them, because we've all had them. And it's way more fun than remembering the arguments.
That's right. Right. That's beautiful. And that's beautifully said. So, Michael D., question for you. What are you most grateful for as we head into 2026? What are you most grateful for about 2025?
2025. Well, I mean, I'm not just pandering, but the chance to work with new people, the chance to meet new people and share songs. It was obviously a beautiful thing to meet Jon, because we had the connection with Michael Davenport, but I knew Michael J. on another level, and to see him in action in the room, because you never think you're going to get to do that. So that was a special thing to witness and to partake in, and to see that it's like, wow, this guy's kind of a badass lyrically, and wow, he really knows how to put a song together. It's like, yeah. It was fun for me, because I've been doing it professionally for 30 years. He's been doing it for longer. Back to your original question, I guess that's part of what I'm most thankful for. What I'm most thankful for is this has been my life, that I get to write songs, because it's an amazing life. It's had its ups and downs for sure, but I've been blessed beyond my wildest imaginations. And I'm still doing it. I'm still, at 66 years old, I still get to walk into rooms with strangers and come out of that room with this little jewel of a song that everyone pitched in. And the songs are blurs to me. You asked, like, who came up with, I don't even know what happens. Like, you reminded me that it was a title I came in with, and now I kind of recall, but they're blurs. It's just like whatever. It's like these little electrons that are bouncing around the room, and from one person to another person, and somehow it gets gelled into this mass of a song. And it's like, wow, how did that happen? I'm always shocked. I'm still, after 30 years professionally doing this, I'm still shocked and thankful when I walk out of a room that we get to hold this song for the rest of our lives. It's like it's a stamp in time. Yes, exactly. And that would be a good title for a song, actually. A stamp in time.
Yeah.
Right. So
three of us are going to have to write it, FYI, if that's.
Yeah, exactly. You can write it right now. Let's do a session, songwriting search session. So Michael J.
Yeah.
Same question. What are you grateful for?
Well, it's almost the same answer, really, except maybe a little bit more bittersweet, because I am grateful for the fact that I'm able to do what I do for a living and actually make a comfortable living at it. not many people can know at 7 years old what they want to do with their life and actually be able to follow through with it and make a living at it. So I was very lucky, and I'm fortunate and blessed that I was able to do that. But then I'm working with these fantastic young writers here in Nashville who are really, really good songwriters, and they all have day jobs, because today's writers, it's really hard to make a living as a songwriter today. There's no more record stores. There's no more mechanical royalties. There's streaming royalties, which are a joke. Yeah. And I just feel really bad for them because, I'm living in my house here from my royalties from the 80s and the 90s, and it's like I said, it's bittersweet. But I am grateful that I had a career that allows me to continue, really. And that the Nashville community has embraced me, because I just moved here 3 years ago from Los Angeles, and it took me no time at all to get traction in this town. So I'm thankful for that as well.
Yeah, wonderful. And Jon, not same question, different. What still remains on your bucket list? That, yeah.
I'm not one of those people that have bucket lists. I have maybe dreams and goals, and, I'm still, after being in the music industry a long time, and, a lot of ups and downs, mostly no's, few yeses here along the way. I just feel like I want to continue the journey of connecting with musical people and people like the two Michaels, and and just continue working, continue doing great work. I always strive to get better, like be a better performer, a better singer, a better songwriter. I haven't, a lot of people are kind of like maybe doing less, when they reach a certain age. I don't feel that way at all. I just feel like, I'm going where the wind leads me, and that's to being better at everything, including being a better person. So, it's not really a bucket list. I can't tell you this. I'd love to go to this place, but it's really more of the whole encompassing thing of music and life, finding the two of those things.
Yeah, and that's the humbleness of you and East Coasters. I find, everything is just fine. It's fine. You don't need, you don't need it. Although I know you're a big fan of sports cars. We see them in your videos. I
like classic cars. I really do. Yes. I wish you could say a bucket list thing would be maybe I'll own a classic car one day, but I'm not a mechanic, so
right. Yeah.
For horror stories about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you had an opportunity to work with or perform with an artist that's still alive, okay, because that, we're going to make this possibly like a dream, maybe a bucket list dream. Who might that artist and or band would be to perform with on stage?
Well, geez, there's so many great musicians and songwriters that I really respect and admire. The way you phrase it, I never really thought of it so much like that, but I'm very impressed with Rick Springfield, because the guy's like in his mid-70s. He's in the shape of someone in their 30s. He's got all this energy. He writes really good pop rock songs. Mm-hmm. So that would be kind of cool. I love the Goo Goo Dolls. I think they're a great band. Doing something with them at some point would be really cool. Yeah. There's so many acts that I respect, but I try to stay in the moment and just like I'm honored to be on this with you and these two guys. I mean that's for me. That's pretty up there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so another question, one last question to both Michaels. What is next? What's next for Michael Dulaney? What is your next venture?
Yeah, I guess in the music world, it's to continue I feel like I have more freedom now to write songs I want to write instead of chasing what is on the pitch sheet. You know, it's like Jason Aldean looking for a show opener or whatever. It's like I just want to write what I want to write because I feel like I'm writing better than I ever have, and I think I have my favorite songs ahead of me, and I'm looking forward to getting to the ones that nurture me and fulfill me as opposed to what the industry is looking for. So I think I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
Just hearing that's inspiring, actually. Just what you said. That's very inspiring, what you said.
Very. Yeah. And do you have any particular performers or artists in mind?
To work with?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I flew myself to Vegas to see the Eagles at the Sphere, and that was a blast just to hear Don Henley. And I was blown away by Glenn Frey's son. I didn't realize how talented he is. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've got to work with some amazing people through the years, and I don't know if I guess in my DNA certainly is James Taylor, because all my changes on the guitar and he was a great guitar player, is a great guitar player. You know, I'd love to stumble into a room with him sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. And that might just happen. And Michael J.
Yeah.
Who would you like to work
People I
with?
want to work with? I've always wanted to have a song of mine recorded by Barbra Streisand, but she just released an album now, and who knows, she's in her 80s, so there may not be another album. Who knows?
Wow.
I mean, she's in her 80s, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But, a lot of my favorite artists that would be on my bucket list are older like that, like they're legends, Elton John, or, of course, I'd love to have a Taylor Swift cut. High on my list would be writing a song with Michael Dulaney for Reba McEntire.
Oh, wow. There you go. I would love that.
Both live in the same town. We can make that happen in the upcoming week.
Next week.
I love Reba. Honestly, she's just so...
I mean, I'm just going to keep writing. I write songs every day. I work on songs every day. It's just fun for me. And so new artists or legacy artists, it doesn't matter. I just want to have my songs recorded and get them out there, because that's what it's all about.
You have Wanda Ryan and A Slice of Canada and Dog Entertainment, and you've got a whole new array of amazing alliances and partnerships around the world. And we are really excited to collaborate together and moving forward with all of you. If I can help make some of those dreams come true.
Wow, you could be my agent.
I could be.
Yeah. Interesting thing I'm doing now that I never thought I'd do. I'm writing an animated musical with my friend Steve Dorff. So we're writing all the songs for an animated feature, and I'm actually writing lyrics that are being sung by trees and squirrels.
Oh my gosh.
That's a first for me.
That sounds like fun though, right?
It is. It's a lot of fun, yeah.
How do you make an arrangement for a tree? Like, how does a tree sound?
Well, I'm just doing the lyrics. Steve Dorff is a musical genius. He's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He's doing the whole score for the film and all the music, and I'm just writing the lyrics.
That's awesome. Very nice. And
Steve Dorff is also up for a Josie Music Award, like Hall of Fame or something.
I think it's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. Next week.
Beautiful.
Yep.
But I'm up for a Pop Rock Artist of the Year at the Josie Music Awards. So,
okay.
I'll be actually down in Nashville next week. I'll be seeing these guys. We'll be shooting.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That's so awesome.
Or something. But yeah, we're looking forward to going back down again. And it's a cool event. I mean, a lot of people don't know about the Josie Music Awards, but it's becoming much, much more broad, and more people are knowing about it. It's like in its 11th year.
Yeah.
It's at the Grand Ole Opry, so it's cool. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. So, and that's part of the walking away.
That was nominated last year.
That was nominated last year. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Grammy or something, people don't. Well, even that, they don't remember who wins anymore. But there's the campaign leading up to the awards. People promote themselves, like most artists do now, like it's the nomination in the category that they'll remember. So, but
Yeah.
hey, it's to be recognized in your field for anything. It is an honor for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see Remember in November in a film. Maybe Peter Foldy. I don't know.
To have it in a movie, there's no question. I think we'd all like to see that happen.
Yeah.
The irony of that is that music video is technically a movie because it's the movie of a time travel, back in time when, there's a young couple and I'm singing in front of that movie in the theater.
Yes.
So we kind of made that, but my gosh, yeah, if the song, is able to connect with someone making movies and music supervisors, that would
And
be,
it would also be a great title for a movie,
Yeah.
it's true, actually.
right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
there you go.
Well, we're planting some seeds today, aren't we?
Yeah.
It'd be good, and it would turn into a franchise. Remember in November 2. Remember in November 3.
Oh my gosh, I
Yes.
love that.
I
We
love
better
that.
trademark that thing.
Yeah.
It's out.
Oh, you're
And-
Lord, Michael.
Huh? The return of November.
Kind of like a Back to the Future thing,
Yes.
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, we're brilliant geniuses right now. Creating another song or creating a movie script.
Do you know what we were initially? Martin Noel is the guy that directed the movie and made the film. And I've worked with Martin on a few of my other music videos. He's a really talented guy, based here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Initially, we were going to do like a time thing where it was. There's a little bit of it in there now, but the Alanis Morissette video where she's standing in a nude suit and all these people are going around her in the street. Was going to be that concept a little bit, but it morphed into something else for various reasons. But it does lend itself well to film for sure.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Let's get this in a film, guys. Okay, that's our. I'm going to put that on our bucket list.
We have a collective bucket list now.
Yeah.
For me. Works for me.
What an honor it is to have you, Jon, back with us, Michael Dulaney and Michael J. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your stories. And it's just been such a delightful time together.
Thank you,
So-
Wanda.
This was a good idea because a lot of times, which it was your idea, the songwriters are often like invisible.
Yes.
And I'm not talking invisible to like the music industry, but more of the people who listen to songs. And they never get to see or hear the actual writers. I think it's a really good idea, and this was really fun today. Hearing both Michael's stories and stuff. I think it's very, very interesting, and I think it helps people connect to the music that they write. I think it's really going to connect with people who.
Thanks again for tuning into that Wanda Ryan show. I'm Wanda Ryan, and here's to remember in November.
Here in a moment, the sun will disappear into the ocean, but we will still be here. The boardwalk is buzzing, the moonlight is coming, but I hope this doesn't end. But just like the summer, you'll be gone, and then I will remember in November when these golden skies turn gray, when we were together, felt like forever. I won't let it fade away. When the nights are long, I'll be holding on to the memories we made. I will remember in November. Just for a minute, let's hold the hands of time and while we're in it, I'll be yours and you'll be mine. And someday I will remember in November when these golden skies turn gray. We were together, felt like forever. I won't let it fade away. When the nights are long, I'll be holding on to the memories we made. I will remember in November. The boardwalk is buzzing, the moonlight is coming, and I hope this doesn't end. I will remember in November when these golden skies turn gray. We were together, felt like forever. I won't let it fade away. When the nights are long, I'll be holding on to the memories we made. I will remember in November. I will remember in November. I will remember in November. Trying to avoid this in my head, the noise is like a choir of voices singing out your praises, but I know what waits is gonna taste like poison. My head and my heart disagree, it's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. From the start, it's over. Leave me to be sober. Make the high seem lower. I don't want to need this. You're my strongest weakness. I might not recover. My head and my heart disagree. It's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. I should be running in the night. Let my demons pick a fight. It might be wrong, but it's so right. I'm wide awake, but still I'm dreaming. Trying to avoid this, gonna taste like poison.